I don't even know how many times I've seen this, man. Two doctors in ED having a full-on disagreement about a certain patient, about a care plan for a certain patient. Do we CT scan this person? Do we not? Do we give him this drug? Do we not give him this drug? What are we doing here? What are we doing there? In my 13 years of nursing, I've witnessed a lot of these discussions. And initially I used to be kind of puzzled by it because I always thought these two doctors have come out of the same damn college of emergency medicine. How are they disagreeing about something like this? Shouldn't they be the same understanding, the same knowledge about a given problem? What are they, disagreeing on? And it wasn't until my best friend, who's also a doctor, who basically summed it up really nicely for me. And he basically said, medicine is a science, obviously. It's science-based, it's evidence-based practice. But it's more of an art than it is a science. That particular summary, that statement has stuck with me ever since he said that. Because that explains what's happening. You have two individuals who are completely trained, specialized doctors in the emergency room, and they are discussing a particular case, and they're basically disagreeing about the course of action because they have all of the knowledge behind them. They have all of the information, yet there is an art applied to it. How you take history from a patient, how you interpret certain things, how you process all that information, which articles you have read, the list goes on and on and on. And this is why my mate, he basically said it's more of an art, man. It's literally an art, because you could have two different doctors examine a single patient separately, and you'll have slightly different understandings of what is wrong with this patient. And sometimes, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes you will have disagreements about, does this patient need treatment? Does this patient need surgery? Does this patient need this, that, or the other? There's so many elements to it. This is medicine we are talking about. This is probably the most, if not the most, one of the most respected scientific fields there is. Like, I don't know what's more important than human health. Of course, there are other harder sciences like physics, chemistry, and all that stuff, like maths, right? But with these hard sciences, there's just one answer, man. There's one answer. With medicine, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's soft or it's wishy-washy, but it's up for debate. Whereas with mathematics, man, there's no debate. It's either the correct answer or it's not. It's like black and white. So when you start adding color to some of these discussions, all of a sudden it becomes murky. What you see from your perspective is not what I see from my perspective. And here we go. Let's fight about this problem. And it's crazy to me because we are dealing with patients here. Do we CT scan this patient after a fall or do we not? Basic decisions like this will be discussed in ED. Now, I'm not talking about they're going to a freaking fist fight, but it's like an intellectual discussion of all the different things that is happening in this case, and they basically work out what to do next. But, in my 12, 13 years of nursing, man, I will tell you, man, every single time, we rock up at a shift and I'm part of the resus team, we have a resus team brief. And we basically run through the list, run through all the plan that the doctor wants. And in my mind, initially when I first started doing this, I was like, everyone's going to have the same plan. No, people have different plans. They want to use different tools for different jobs. Which, airway adjunct are we going to use here? What style of intubation procedure do you want? Do you want a bougie? Do you want to go straight in? Do you want a video? Do you want a gyroscope? Like, there's so many other things, and everyone almost every shift, you have to literally go through the whole list and be like, okay, what do you want at what time? And these people have come, basically, a lot of them have come from the same college of emergency medicine in Australia, right? So it's kind of like, wow. There are many other examples like this. Look at sport. Why do we like sport so much? Sport is interesting not because of the athletic performance of the players, but it's also very interesting from the coaching point of view. You have two minds, two different styles clashing on the football field. Is it going to be the tiki-taka? Is it going to be more direct play? Are we sending our wingers around, or are we keeping them back? The wing backs. What are we doing? What sort of formation are we using? Right? There's no right or wrong almost in some of these sporting fields. It's like, what is what tools do you have? I.e., which players do you have? So if you have Messi up front, you don't necessarily want to go long with him because he's a small guy. He's not going to win any headers. You got to go tiki-taka, bring the ball to his feet, get him closer, get him to come and get the ball, and then play of him. What sort of players are we going to have around him? If he's going to be the focal point, we're going to build around him. Okay, we need Iniesta, we need Xavi, we need Deco, we need all these other guys. We need Sergio Busquets behind him to protect. And see how things start forming. In this same manner, if these things are artsy, these hard, sciencey things, something that's much, much bigger than powerlifting, what gives us the right to have a rigid idea of, no, this is the way to go forward? Mate, medicine, mainstream medicine, people are arguing about which way to go. What the hell is powerlifting? What is Olympic weightlifting? What are some of these other sports where people are so rigid in their thinking? Open your mind. It is a freaking art. Yes, people want to, reference and bring up all these different articles. My friend, that's good for you. It is an art. After you've read all of this stuff, your job is to put all of that information, precipitate all that stuff to a freaking fine salt and work out which way you want to use it. That's what we're talking about. So when I'm talking to some of you guys and you're telling me about you've got 1 kid, 2 kids, 10 kids, night job, day job, I work with my spine every day at work, digging holes, or I work in an office, I drive to work 45 minutes every morning, I walk to work. There are so many different elements. What sort of personality are you? Are you an introvert? Are you extrovert? Do you have any food allergies? The list goes on and on and on. And your job as somebody who likes to train is to work out what recipe are you going to use for your training. There is no right or wrong, my man. There simply isn't. You just need to sit back and realize, okay, what tools do I have? Do I have a Messi? Do I have a Ronaldo? Do I have an Lewandowski? Do I have Peter Crouch? How are we going to score a goal? What is the method we're going to use? And then you start, adding pieces to the puzzle and try to work out, okay, how are we going to go from there? If you're starting a team from scratch, right, and you are, let's say you're 12 years old, you haven't selected a particular direction in life, you have all the education in front of you, you get to pick what job you're going to do, all of that. Even then, you're still a formed personality to some degree at 12 years old, right? So even then, you are not working with a blank canvas. You are basically using what you've been given at that point and you move forward. That's what coaching is. That's what training is. You see a symptom, you see a set of symptoms, and then you move from there. You assess the situation, then you make the decisions and you don't look back. And then you reassess. And then you move forward. And then you reassess. So my herky-jerky plan is because it's herky-jerky in my life. My whole freaking life is herky-jerky. What am I going to do this time in 3 months? I have no idea. Today is a day off. In 3 months' time, I might be in the thick of a night shift. Right? So my stuff is literally all over the place. I don't know where I'm going to pass the ball, man. I have no idea, man. I need to look over my shoulder and see where the freaking player's coming from. If he's coming from a right, I ain't passing to the right. I'm passing it to the left. That kind of thing. So when we think about training, when I think about all of this stuff, I just think to myself, this is a freaking art, man. If I draw a picture and you draw a picture, which picture's better? We can have a subjective discussion about that, but it's art. I've seen some shocking pieces of art, man. Freaking shocking. Being sold for tens of millions of dollars. And I sit there and I scratch my head and I'm like, well, who the hell is going to give that much money for that? It looks like my freaking child drew it. No, it's beautiful. The strokes of that brush on that canvas are excellent. There we go. Some bloke gives 10 million for a piece of art. Art is funny. It's almost difficult to freaking even thinking about measuring it. So I'm not saying disregard all science and let's just freaking have anarchy and just run around. Science is very useful because it gives us some sort of rigidity so we can grab onto the side of the pool so we don't drown. Okay? Science can give us some of these things, but even those things are a bit floaty. They're floaty things, right? They're not set in concrete, unbroken. Somebody's always going to come around in the next 10, 20, 30 years and disprove it, right? It's always, basically science is a thing where people work really, really, really hard to disprove current theories. That's what this is. Some of the things that they thought was rigid perfect is completely wrong at the moment. I've mentioned a couple of medical stories about people with APO, acute pulmonary edema, or fluid on the lungs, how they used to treat it like 70, 80 years ago. They used to bleed people out. They used to put a line into one of your cupidal fossa veins, bang, and just bleed you out for, I don't know, a few minutes. Work out, in the bucket how much blood is coming out into the bucket. Oh, okay, we've bleeding for about half a liter. All right, no worries. Let's stop that bleed and see how it feels now. Let's do a X-ray of the chest to see if there's less fluid on the lung. No shit, there's gonna be less fluid on the lung, man. You've just freaking bled the guy to death. There's no fluid on the lung. In fact, there's no blood in him. And so now we don't do that anymore, right? Now we give him medications. We give him all sorts of things. So see how it continuously evolves. This is where some of my ideas come from. A lot of you guys are like, Ivan, how can you be so anti-science and you're a freaking nurse? I'm a science-based human being. I am. But I see the limit of it. I see the boundaries of it, okay? And I've seen it way too many times in people dispute it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to try and jump off my freaking house headfirst into the ground because I reckon they were wrong about the forces involved in a 3-meter fall from the roof. I reckon my neck can take it. We don't need to be foolish about it. But what I'm saying to you is look at your life, look at your circumstances, and just look at some of these so-called given structures, some of these pillars of training that have previously been set. Look at them more as floaty structures in a pool instead of like these pillars that are immovable and set in concrete. They're not. They're not. And you can freely move them around to suit your life. There's no optimal anything anywhere for anybody, especially biological creatures. We're constantly moving needles left and right, fine-tuning things left and right until we find what works for us. And you know what? This time in 3 months' time, I'm going to have to, play with those freaking needles again, those sliders. Why? Because it's a different me in 3 months' time, different situation, different day, different older kids. Is it a sick kid? Is it a not sick kid? What's happening? Is my wife working? Am I not working? Are we paying the bills? Are we not paying the bills? Did the garbage truck driver take the bin or not? Do I need to call him? Or I got a stinky bin? What's going on? It's endless, man. It's endless. And this is why I always have this perspective of biological creatures are biological creatures. We need to adapt to certain situation. Not be like, no, this is a fine design machinery and we need to lock it in. You're not locking anything in, mate. It's always juggling and fine-tuning. That's my perspective to all of this. And some of you guys have given me feedback, man, ever since I started watching you, Ivan. I've had more freedom in training. I'm not so, crazy about some of these 5 sets of 5. Not a single freaking rep more because that's breaking the mold of optimal training. What? And so some of you guys are like, man, until you showed me your style of training, I found it boring and I quit my training because it was too rigid. It wasn't for me. Okay. So this optimal, which some person somewhere decided arbitrarily, this was optimal, is not suiting you. So adjust it. Don't freaking quit training. Adjust it. Whatever. Even if you're squatting the bar today, squat it. Don't care about what the research says. Do it. Feel good and just whatever it takes, keep on going, man. And be brave. Don't be so locked in by society, man. This is what I always say to you guys, and I know the black screen is killing your eyes, but let me say this one more thing. I go to work, it's locked in protocols everywhere. I'm not a doctor, I'm a nurse, so I am much, much more guided by protocol. I can't step to the left, otherwise I get chopped up. Okay, whereas doctors have more autonomy about their practice. I'm a nurse. Everything I do says in the book, and that's how I do it. Follow the doctor's instructions. I follow my nursing standards that I've read when I started doing nursing, right? That's my job. I drive my car on the road, rules everywhere. I go to the bank, rules everywhere. Payments exactly this day. Where else in your life do you have utter freedom to do whatever the hell you want to do? I don't even have that with my own kids. Why? Because it's my wife is there. I need to have a discussion with her about some of the decisions we're going to make about the house, about the kids, about the cars we drive, about anything in the house. But nobody touches this idea of training. It is liberty, man. It is a celebration of my freaking willpower. It's a celebration of my freedom. It's the only time I feel free. I'm going to squat with the bar on my head. Done. I'm not going to put it on my shoulders or my front rack. I'm going to bounce it on my head. There. Who's filing a report? No one's filing a report. No one's telling me anything. I'm doing it. Just for the sake of freaking being a rebel. There. To me, that is a beautiful thing. And a lot of people don't even appreciate how beautiful of a feeling it is. I don't know if you have anything in your life that offers you such pure freedom. It is a beautiful thing. I encourage you guys to break free from the freaking mold that some guy arbitrarily thought he was the optimal. Where is the optimal human being? You point me to him and I'll gladly meet him. Where is the optimal human being? Who is he? Where is he? It's evolution, man. It's biology. It's mutating. They made vaccines 3 months ago about this coronavirus, and they're still pumping this vaccine out. This is 2.5, 3 years old now, man. This vaccine is outdated. The thing we're trying to fight now is completely evolved, and it will continue to evolve. That's what viruses do. Continuously mutating and changing. That's what we are as well, to a lesser degree, obviously. But I think it's important to have that idea about training, to have that, you know, just the blinkers off. Just take the blinkers off and have a think and be brave. Guys, appreciate all of you guys on the screen. Special thanks to you guys. Special thanks, obviously, to the rest of the patrons as well. The support recently has been insane. Like, you guys on that video for day 1000 have been unbelievable. I'm still getting messages from people, still getting support from people. Unbelievable feeling, you guys, man. Like, you're making me feel special. The support that I have is unreal, and I just want to say to all of you guys, thank you. Like, I don't know what else I can do but say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support, for all the kind words. It's unreal, absolutely unreal. Instagram, Discord, YouTube comments, Patreons, everybody, man. Like, there's so many different avenues of support from me right now. It's absolutely unreal, and I want to thank you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.